We are live. Welcome. Good to be with you, everyone. My name is Dr. Terry Levine. I am the Chief Heartrepreneur at heartrepreneur.com. And we are here today, and I'm not going to tell you about my guest just yet, to help you build your business a much easier way. Now, if you're in digital marketing, if you're any type of an agency, digital marketing agency, and even if you're not, and even if you've ever thought, that might be something I'm interested in, everything in this conversation is going to have value and a takeaway for you. And how do I know that? Well, my guest today is someone that I absolutely have come to love and adore, and I know you will too, because not only does she really understand business, she has a very simple way of communicating that's clear to the point, and she has strategies. So she delivers the value. My guest name is Julie Musial, and Julie is one of my client family members. She's a protege and someone that I'm absolutely proud to also call a friend. So, Julie, tell folks a little bit about yourself and let's get into the content.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Yes, I am a protege. Love what Terry teaches. But what I do is I teach digital marketing agencies and digital marketing service providers how to make more money using my proprietary program, Overwhelmed to Money Guaranteed. And if you signed up for this video or as you're watching it later, what I'm going to talk about is my 3P formula. So that's all part of the course, but it's all part of what will help you. And as Terry said, it not only helps digital marketing agencies, digital marketing service providers, anybody can utilize this information.
Exactly, exactly. And the information, because I've been following Julie and I've been working with Julie and I've been watching what she posts, I want to also tell you, and we'll have Julie drop links later, follow her on her Instagram, on her Facebook. I learn from Julie as well. She has lots of tips, and Cartrepreneur also has a digital marketing agency. So I'm really interested in what Julie has to say and teach. So my first question is, how did you land upon this as a niche, and why does this resonate with you so much?
Why it resonates with me is yes, I am a master certified coach, but I'm also a digital strategist and I owned a digital marketing agency international for 10 years. When I started out coaching in 2008, I coached everyone. I coached entrepreneurs, which is great. I love working with small businesses. But I decided that it's much better, and it is much better to niche down because I am a digital strategist. And when I put my materials together, I speak directly to that person instead of trying to cover everyone, the plethora of everyone. The person that I am most effective with will raise their hand because A, they know I've done it, and B, I can speak directly to their pain points.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So, what are some of the biggest challenges these agencies are having? And then give us some tips so that we can learn to build our business the easy way.
Okay, so what I see with digital marketing service providers and agencies is that these are smart people. These are people that are entrenched in their business. Technology changes daily. You have to stay up on your craft. And some of the challenges that I see is they they haven't learned how to communicate at a I've always heard it was at a fifth grade level, but in reality, now through COVID, I've heard it's gone to a third grade level. So in communicating with people, not using the technical jargon like HTML, just take that right out of your vocabulary. SEO, search engine optimization. People, yeah, they kind of sort of know what that means, but they really don't. Search engine marketing, take that out of your lingo. You want to bring it down to their level. And I don't like the phrase, but it kind of says what I mean is just dumb it down. I'm not saying people are dumb, but I just want to bring it down because you're in the business and they're not. So communicating effectively is really a big thing. And what I see a lot of digital marketing companies do, and why I've decided on the 4P formula is it stands for prospect, which is really marketing, which is what Terry teaches. She's a master at it. We also cover it in Overwhelmed to Money, but not to the degree that the master does. But then there's packaging, pricing, and presenting. And kind of what I talked about with the The speaking on their level is part of the presenting. But what I see digital marketers do is they want to help everybody. So they jump right in and they don't really know what they want to do and they're willing to help everybody. They don't know how to price. So they just start doing anything for anyone and they'll just toss out a price.
Mm.
They end up stressed, overwhelmed, anxiety, and they don't have any path of where they want to go. So that's where I talk about you have to package it. You have to decide, what do you really want to do? What are you good at? What do you love? Put that into packages. I work with a lot of digital marketers, and when I owned my agency, I worked with a ton of them. And one of the things that they struggle with is how to tell people what they do. You have to step back and you have to decide, what do I do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do myself? How do I want to charge for it? So what I like to say is make it simple. So in packaging, you want to have three packages. You want to name them something, it doesn't even have to be clever. It could be gold, silver, bronze. It could be one, two, three. It could be good, better, best. And you want to sit down and in your packages, you want to list out every single thing you do. Now, you're not putting prices to them yet. You're listing out what you do. Once you list out what you do, say, for example, if you are a web designer or a graphic designer, you want to list out how many pages, how many images, does it include search engine optimization, does it include a video, everything and anything that you do. And this can work for any digital marketer. So let's say you're a copywriter. How many pages? What are you copywriting? Are you doing sequences? Are you doing emails? How many? So doesn't matter who you are, what you do, you can do these three packages. But you want to get them down and you want to make them look professional. So if you're not a graphic designer, have a graphic designer put it together for you. Once you get that together, you want to either put it on a landing page, put it somewhere where you can showcase it and show it to people, not with prices, just what you do, why you do it. So let's say, for example, if it's on your website, and someone goes to want to work with you, you want to have a call to action. Terry teaches, and I totally agree with this, one call to action. So if you look at my website, you'll see one call to action. Anywhere you click, it goes to my calendar. Why? Because I don't just work with anybody. I have to pre-qualify. Do you want to work with me? Do I want to work with you? And that's what you should do is showcase what you do and have that call to action. It could be download my packages, but it still really goes to your calendar. Now you don't want to meet with just anybody because you've got a lot of tire kickers and you don't want to spend all your time with the tire kickers. So when they go to your calendar, you want to have pre-qualifying questions. It might say something like, what are your needs? Depending on what you do, you're going to put maybe 1 to 3 questions, maybe 4, so that you can pre-qualify. Once you've pre-qualified them, you get on the phone with them for 15 minutes, you ask them similar questions. What do you need? Who have you worked with up until this point? Tell me about that experience. You want to create a relationship. And the reason you want to do that is because you don't want to work with everybody. You want to make sure that there's somebody you want to work with. If people start placing blame on past, excuse me, website designers or someone they've worked with, or they start whining or complaining or whatever, that's like your worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare because if people whine and complain about someone they worked with, they're going to do it with you.
Sure.
And I choose to work with people that are delightful, that I love to work with, that are easy to work with. So that's what that call is designed to do. And once you decide that there's somebody you want to work with, you schedule the actual call. And on the actual call, that's where you present your packages. So pricing point, which I haven't talked about, what you also want to do is create your prices for yourself. You're not up until this point going to show your prospect your pricing. So I call it a pricing matrix. What you want to create is a pricing matrix that mirrors your packages. You want to sit down and you want to price out, you're going to have different columns. What is it costing you for that item? Now, here's something that I see a lot of digital marketers make the mistake on. They think to themselves, well, my current job, I made $40 an hour, so that's what I'm going to charge. That is a huge mistake. And what you want to think about is, what is your time really worth? What is your experience level? How much do you have to do to stay up on your craft? How much do you have to study? How many courses do you have to invest in? How many coaches have you had? How many books have you written? How many books have you read? The list goes on and on. And I highly suggest that you make a list of everything you've done to this date to value your worth and what your future worth is. That's your time, but that's just one line item. Let's say, for example, you should only do yourself things you love and outsource everything else. So let's say, for example, you offer SEO, search engine optimization. Somebody else is doing it for you. One line is going to be what is the cost to you, but then the next line is what is your gross margin? What do you want to add on top of that? And then what's the final price? The reason you want to do that when you finally get on a Zoom call with a customer, that's when they're going to see your totals, not your individual matrix, because that's just for you. So what you want to do when you're on that 15-minute pre-qualifying call and you decide you want to work with this person, and they decide they want to see your packages, what you've put together is what I call, and this is another one of the P's, it's your pre-presentation document. The pre-presentation document is your process, your system. And how you want to position that to someone is you tell them that prior to the presentation, you would like them to read your pre-presentation document. In that and you position it that it's going to save them time. So on the pre-presentation document, you have things like, here's who my ideal avatar is. The reason you want to do that is you want them to raise their hand and say, yep, that's me. You want to put examples of your past clients, what their need was, what their pain point was, a description of your company, a description of your team, your process, your support, your bio, why you do what you do, why you love what you do. And throughout, you want to sprinkle testimonials. So you send that to them and you ask them to read it prior to your presentation. What happens is they either self-identify or they take themselves out and they cancel the meeting. And if they take themselves out, that's great because they wouldn't have worked out anyway. But if they read this document, and this document could be as long as 10 pages, and I did this in my agency and it works. So they read this document, they already realize I got to work with this company. This is a company I want to work with. So when you get on the call, the presentation call, you ask them, did you read the pre-presentation document? If they did, great, you continue on. If they didn't, you go back and you tell them that they have to read it. And the reason they have to read it is because it saves them so much time and it saves you so much time because it's going to tell them about your process and all those things that they need to know. Once you get on the phone, on the Zoom call or whatever you choose to use, you run through your packages. You don't have individual prices, you just have total prices. You run through each item. And let me preface it by saying technical people, we have a tendency to speak in technical terms. So you want to preface your conversation by saying, there is no dumb question. Please don't feel intimidated because I don't expect you to know this. I study this craft, and just go into your spiel of why you don't want them to feel intimidated, and there is no dumb question. So please ask any question you want. That works like a charm because it takes the pressure off them of feeling like I'm going to feel stupid. I don't know what she's talking about. So you want to start out like that, and you run through your packages and you tell them what that means to them and what it is the benefit. So here's why you want this. And I'm telling you, the things that I'm teaching you, I would say 90 to 95%, if not more, of all digital marketers do not do this. So if you take the time to do this, this is a slam dunk. Because once they get to if you've pre-qualified, they've pre-qualified, you've sent the pre-presentation document, you get to the presentation. If you do it right, your odds of closing, I'd say, are 80 to 90%. They're just extremely high. So once you get them on the phone, you run them through it, you tell them what the benefit of each item is. When you get down to the bottom, you have your a la carte items if they want to add something in, and you're guaranteed. And then you ask them one question. Which one would you like and when do you want to start? And then you wait for them to answer. And that's really hard. You just stop talking. You have to stop. Because you know your craft so well. You have just given them a ton of information. You know it like the back of your hand. They don't. It's the first time they've ever seen it. You got to let them process. People need time to process. And what might seem really uncomfortable to you, they're just sitting there thinking, So they're thinking about your product and what they want. So the reason you did the pricing matrix, you've got that sitting next to you, your prospect is not seeing that. Let's say, for example, you want them to buy the middle one. You know that's the right one for them. Suggest it. As the expert, you suggest, I think what I know about your situation, I think the one you need is the middle one. Well, let's say they can't quite, they're not sure they want the middle one. Maybe they want the smaller one, but they want to add one thing from the middle one. The reason you've created this matrix is you can look at it, and let's say it was a video, an on-location video. That wasn't in the small one they wanted, but they wanted the video. You know what you need to charge to make it feasible for your company to make a profit. You just look at it and you say, okay, the one you wanted to buy is 10,000. To add that video on location shoot would be $1,000. So the total would be 11,000. The great thing about doing that is it gives you credibility. It makes you look like an expert. You don't have to call them back. There's no jumping around. I'll get back to you on Thursday. You know exactly what you need to charge. So many digital marketers will just throw out a price, and then after the call, they're like, oh, what have I done? I'm going to lose money on that. By doing your homework in advance, you know that you're going to make money on it, and it's a win-win for everybody. So that's why you want the pricing matrix. So that takes care of the packaging, the pricing, the presenting. Once they say they want it and they have a date, just ask them when they want to start. And that is the packaging, the pricing, and the presenting. And 95% of marketers are not doing this. And if you take the time to put this together, it does take work. I guarantee you this stuff works.
Yeah, so I want to do like a recap and talk about some of the things we talked about so much. There's so much value. So one of the first things I heard you say is, stop talking jargon, SEO and meta tags or whatever. Just keep it really, really simple for people. You gave us this, like, I took copious notes on this formula on how do you do the prospecting, the packaging, the pricing, and the presenting. And then you also talked a bit about, keep in mind, you're looking for your ideal avatar, people you know you can get results for, and none of us can help everyone. Your zone of genius clearly is with digital marketers. You suggested 3 packages. We can name them, whatever we want. And then you told us in every single package, we really need to put down on paper and pen or Word doc or whatever, here's what's in this package, here's what's in this package, and really have bulleted out everything we're including, not necessarily the price at this point. And that the reason we're putting these packages together is when we share that with someone, they can see we know what we're doing, we're very professional, and we can put that in a document, we can put it on a landing page, we can put it on our website. And then there always is on our website or our landing page, whatever, even on our social media posts, there's one call to action. And then your call to action is having people book time with you. And you suggested that if we do that here, as you know, have some pre-qualifying questions and then get on the phone, have a phone interview. And that's how we start connecting and building a relationship. And then you schedule a longer call. So this is a short call. And on that longer call, you'll present your packages. One of the things that I loved that you went over is to create for ourselves, not to give to the prospects or the clients, is a pricing matrix. So for every one of the packages, like, all right, well, I'm including this, what are my hard costs on this? What do I need to do with this? And you also reminded us, in looking at pricing things, we have to look at everything. How many years of training did you have? How many courses? How many books? How many coaches? What did you invest? And the other piece that I resonate with is you don't need to be an expert at everything. So there are things you can outsource that you don't need necessarily to do. And then you talked about sharing before the longer call, this process system pre-presentation document. And one of the things I also have to say is, you said it so many times, make sure they have read that before the next call. And even if you get on the phone, it's, wait a minute, did you read that? No, I didn't. Well, you need to go back and read it. We'll reschedule, because the odds of closing the way you just taught are just super high. And this question, everyone, this is a writer downer. Julie gave you like a bomb of a gift here. At the very end of presenting your offer, it's very simple. Which one would you like and when would you like to start? And then you have to sit in your hands, put yourself on mute, stop talking. I have to say, I'm just blown away. I mean, this is such a simple process. It's so logical. And I see digital marketing agencies just screwing this up every single day. I see coaches and consultants, speakers, trainers, authors. I see everyone screwing this up. A question for you. If people wanted to model your website, what is the best place for them to go?
My website is Musial, Musial, consultinggroup.com. And what I just taught, you'll find on there.
Oh, that's brilliant. So as you can tell, Julie is creating super high value. So I'm imagining that if someone gets on the phone with you, 100%, you're going to be about creating value, creating a relationship. Yes?
Absolutely, for sure. It's not about I'm going to cram this down your throat and you're going to buy it. It
Right.
has to be a win-win on both sides, because if you take clients that you really don't want to work with, you're going to regret it. What you're looking for on those calls is red flags. In my career, every time I took a client that I had a red flag, which wasn't too many times, but every time I did it, I regretted it. It
In
became a
there.
nightmare.
Yep.
If you have a red flag, you got to go with your gut. And that's what you want. And you can't be concerned with if they disqualify themselves. That's what you want, because you don't want to waste your time. By working with the wrong client, you don't have the time to work with the right clients.
It's true. It's true. You know, it's really interesting. I have made some mistakes, in these almost 40 something years. I've definitely made some mistakes, not a lot. And every single time when I go back in retrospect, I'm like, I had a funny feeling about it, right? And so we don't want you to repeat the mistakes. Julie and I are sharing, hey, this is what we know in business. We want to make sure you don't make the same mistake. Now, how will someone know when they go to your website if they should fill out a form and they should chat with you? Who are you looking for as the ideal avatar?
The ideal avatar that I work with is someone who, I've kind of recently changed this a bit, because it was someone who had been in business a couple of years already, someone who's a little bit established. But I just did a beta program on a new program, and I had some people in there that were pretty green, and they said to me that this is awesome for anybody just starting out. But then most of the people that I have that are 3 to 5 years in have said to me, I wish I would have taken this when I just started. So it really is, you can be, I would say you probably should, be at least 6 months into it, but a year would definitely be long enough, if not 6 months. So I'm looking for a person who really is an implementer, someone who wants to learn, because what I teach, as what Terry teaches, if you don't implement it, I don't care what I teach you, if you don't implement it, it's not going to work. So if you're ready to implement.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with that. And, one of the main things that just even happened here in this, you gave all this value in this almost half hour, tons and tons of value. And some, if you're watching it later, just do hashtag replay, and we'll know you're here. Just hashtag replay. Some are going to implement, right? We know that. Some are going to go, this looks great. I'm going to head on over to Julie's site. I'm going to implement. I'm going to get on a call with her. I'm going to see if she can help me. And other people are going to have learned the info. Some of the people who learn the info are going to do nothing with it. Other people like me, I took notes. I'm like, you know what? We don't have a pricing matrix at our agency. Every once in a while, I have to price a one-off service and I have to look everything up and figure it all out. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just ingenious. So you want to be not just an implementer. You don't want to just be a learner. You want to be someone who learns, absorbs, and implements. Learns, absorbs, and influence. So I have a question for you and implements. You're clearly very gifted at marketing. You're clearly very gifted at communication. You're clearly very gifted at digital marketing. Why are you my client family member?
Yeah. Why am I your client family member? Because as a digital marketer, we can't know everything. And what I find is I loved Musial Marketing. That was my company. But being a creating something for someone else doesn't teach you the marketing. Terry is a genius at marketing. She's been practicing her craft for 47 years. What she's taught me is invaluable. And what I love about coaching with Terry Levine is that she stays on top of it. Just like as a digital marketer, you have to stay up on your craft. Terry stays up on her craft. So I don't have the time to stay up on every single little nuance. Terry has tested these things. It's all about the marketing. So the piece that I didn't talk about was the prospecting, because if you don't have any prospects, you don't have any customers. So you have to know how to prospect. And there's a lot to that as well.
Yeah.
Getting your marketing out there, getting it out right. And in today's world, just like digital marketing changes constantly, everything is changing constantly. There's new things every day. Different marketing strategies aren't working. I know that Terry Levine is connected to all of these other great marketers, and she's bringing me the most recent things that work, and I love that. So I believe that you have to hire coaches. One of the things that a mistake that I made when I had my digital marketing company was I didn't hire the right coach for far too long. So I struggled with that. I saw on the internet the other day, it might have been on LinkedIn, someone was doing websites. She had been doing it for like 7 years and she was still selling them for $1,800 in the United States. That was mind blowing because how are you?
Wow.
That's a hobby.
Yeah.
You can't survive on $1,800. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's either a hobby, or if you want a business, you have to hire the right people. And I knew that. Did I want to struggle again for 5 years before I finally hired someone? No, you have to invest in your company. So that's why I work with Terry Levine.
Thank you. And I'm honored. I just want you to know I love working with you. You've even done some work with Heartrepreneur because you get it, because you implement, because you learn, and also because you have a really good heart and you want to help people. You are truly deemed Heartrepreneur. And I use that word only for people who do business heart to heart with transparency, integrity, and authentically. And that embodies you. So let's give people in the last 30 seconds or so, what's the action they need to take and how can they connect with you, Julie?
The action that they need to take is, I would say the first action is my website, musialconsultinggroup.com, and just schedule one of those 15-minute calls. In that call, if you like what you're hearing, we'll schedule a longer call and it'll be transformative. The things that I'm able to rattle off, as you just heard, in 20 minutes are massive. So it's not a sales pitch. I'm not about sales pitching you. I'm about finding out, can I help you? Do you want help? Are you the right person? So go to my website, get on my calendar. Let's do a 15-minute call. There is absolutely no obligation. Just tell me what you're thinking your needs are. Where have you been up until this point? Who have you worked with? And we'll go from there.
Beautiful. Fantastic. For those of you who are on the Facebook group at Heartrepreneurs, we can't see your comments because Facebook doesn't allow third-party apps to do that. Don't worry. As soon as the live is over, Julie and I will be we'll be responding. If you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay. If you have questions, ask. Julie's in the group. She's super responsive. And Julie, I just want to thank you from my heart for the way you always show up, are of service, you help, you give, you share. And it's an honor to have you as a client, family member, and a friend.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be here. And one other thing, if someone wants to email me directly, you can just email me at julie@musialconsultinggroup.com. I'm very responsive, and it is me answering.
Yes, it is. And she is very responsive. So it's julie@musialconsultinggroup.com. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure, if you got some value from this, to share the video around. And if you're in our Facebook family, in our community at Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine, Make sure that you invite some folks because we don't want anyone to miss this. Every week, Tuesdays at 2 p.m., we go in and create more value for you. Julie, thanks again. And thanks everyone for tuning in and joining us. Bye for now.
Bye.